And we're back live. So welcome everybody to another panel at the BGA, Blockchain Game Alliance. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
So today with us, we've got Tim and Cossimo, both from two very exciting projects we've been following very closely. So we have Venly and Algorand joining us today. Topic for today, it's going to be about the integration of fiat payments for blockchain games. So before we head into this topic, I will let Luis present you the BGA, what it is, what it does to the community. So I'll pass it over to you. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, Serena, very much. So, well, thank you for being here today in another panel organized by the BGA. So, Serena, can you help me by sharing the slides? Yep, thank you. Oh, okay. Okay, awesome. Well, as Serena was saying, today we have a panel on the integration of fiat payment in blockchain games. So what is the Blockchain Game Alliance? We do networking, research and reporting representing the blockchain game companies, and we advocate for blockchain within the game industry. Thank you very much to all our sponsors in the Anti-Interactive, Illuvium, One Way Block, Star Atlas, GIF Games, Splinterlands, Ubisoft, Saya, Fear, Mobox, Gameloft, DNA Cat, Starmon, Vulcan Forge, ARC, Non-Fungible, Digital Entertainment Assets, GamerHash, TAP, IOI, TriumphX, Drops, Cartesi, Algorand, who's here today, Anarchy, Boson, Chromia, Polygon, Nexttype, Yushi, Sushi, NFTB, Animoca Brands, Contribute, Galaxy Interactive, Consensus, Tesos, Dacoco, HackerNoon, Polkadot, and DAP Radar. So what is a Blockchain Game Alliance? This is an organization committed to promoting blockchain within the game industry, and our goal is to spread awareness about blockchain technologies and encourage the adoption by highlighting their potential to foster new ways to create, publish, play, and build strong communities around gaming. We're also a strong advocate for diversity and more inclusivity of women in the industry. We also provide an open forum for individuals and companies to share knowledge and collaborate, create common standards, establish best practices, and network. So thank you also to all our members. You can see there are a lot. There are between games and gaming companies, chains and protocols, developer solutions, esports, press, media, and many others. So these are some of the events we usually host, such as this panel that we're having today. We also have some other events like the demo day, new members presentations, workshops, and play the game events. And without further ado, let's start with today's panel. We have Tim and Cossimo here. Thank you for being here. And let's have fun. Hopefully this panel will be very helpful and very valuable to everyone who's watching. And if you have any question to any of them, just let us know in the comment section and we can address these questions as well. Thank you very much for being here.
So welcome everyone. I also want to encourage you to ask any question you may have during this panel conversation, so feel free to share them with us in the live comments. So I would love to pass on the word to Cossimo at Algorand to give a quick presentation about himself and what Algorand does in the space.
Okay, thank you, Serena. So my name is Cossimo. I'm a solution architect here for the Algorand Inc. Basically, as solution architect, I try to make our technology simpler for whoever is willing to build on top of the Algorand layer 1. So exploring our feature, our protocol, trying to combine all our technology to deploy any use cases on our layer 1. So Algorand is, as you may know, a pure proof of stake blockchain. It's built from ground up around an idea from Silvio Micali, and we are a layer one that managed to be scalable, decentralized, and secure. And you can find all our metrics on our developer portal. So maybe if anyone is interested, then we can talk about more on it.
Super. Thank you so much for being with us today. Then we have Tim, who we have seen at the BGA several times. They have developed so well in the course of the past few months, and I'd love to hear more from you, Tim, and how Venly has been getting it to market. Welcome.
Thank you, Serena. Also to you, Luis, and happy to be joining Cossimo today at the panel. So I'm Tim Dierckxsens, co-founder and CEO at Venly. What we do is we don't have our own blockchain, but we're a blockchain technology provider. We support multiple blockchain networks, and this with different solutions. In the early days in 2018, the first solution we had were wallet services, and we had that go-to-market strategy around gaming to facilitate game studios to really bring that into their gameplay. Sandbox is one of the examples there. But then also we dived in a little bit deeper to provide additional tools such as NFT APIs and marketplace APIs so that you can develop your own custom marketplace within the game and bring that blockchain technology inside the gameplay for the game studios and make it user-friendly, of course, for the end users.
Here we go. Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. So I'm curious to hear from you in terms of, what the trend has been and what you've been seeing, today on the market in terms of growth and user habits. And the reason why do you think would be useful to integrate fiat payments? So we went so far with crypto. So why are we now going back, with the introduction of fiat payments on blockchain? What are your thoughts?
Well, for me, if you're targeting the 99% of the world, then crypto is still a very new and very difficult means to enter the ecosystem. And you still need a fiat on-ramp because this is what people still use today to be able to enter a particular game. And if you don't have that, then the only way to enter the game or the metaverse is by first going to Binance, going to all of these exchanges, there topping up your account in crypto, having a particular token swap, and there's just too much complexity around all of that. And you want a very simple onboarding strategy to onboard any type of user to come and play a game. Because in the end, it's still about the game and not about the blockchain network it is supported on.
Absolutely, yes. I also want to encourage people in the audience that are watching live. There's actually quite a few of you guys, so thank you for being with us, to share any question you may have, because I think this is such a hot topic that the community really needs to, unfold together with companies that are making a good change in this industry. So we'll get going with our question, and the next one is for Cossimo. One of the challenges of adoption has been the ability to facilitate acquisition of crypto for payments. Do they still see it as a challenge today? So do we actually see it, and Algorand, what is actively doing to tackle that challenge?
Okay, so first of all, I want to briefly recap some concept because here, so what we are seeing now is that gaming are a lot more than just a gaming experience. So games are turning into economies, because there is a lot of economical activities around each game, and this means that maybe I can produce skin or avatar, even not playing at all with the game from which I'm contributing as a creator. So as Algorand, we tend to see the metaverse and the gaming as a digital economy. So just we can just talk about a digital economy that function with their own rules. So we are filling the gap in the sense that thanks to our scalability, we can open up this integration without having fear of slowing down our layer one, because the main point is adopting fiat at the end of the day is open up the gate for a public that is not blockchain savvy, not crypto savvy, and maybe want to access easily to this kind of economical interaction. So, for example, Blowing is one example of application that is filling those gaps on Algorand, being a gateway between fiat to fiat, fiat to crypto, crypto to crypto, and easily managing this kind of payment interface. Because at the end of the day, what is lacking now is better UX in general for the whole blockchain scenario. So we are moving as industry, not only just as Algorand, for better UX. And then maybe we can discuss more on the other question, because this open up, and this is a conversation, so maybe this is an open point. The problem is, okay, who should own keys? So should be a custodial solution, a non-custodial solution. So how should we want to interact with fiat? Who owns the key at the end of the day?
Interesting topics, yes. One of my next question was actually around users and who are the users that we are targeting. Even if the word target, it sounds a bit odd, because here we're trying to expand the market and to see the plurality of users coming into the space. So it sounds a bit tricky to see that way. However, there's a few good points that the audience has brought up. One is around marketing, which I do also agree is something that we don't often take into consideration too much, because it's, people that are knowledgeable about blockchain, they would know about those solutions. But people that are not, I think they need to hear from a different kind of point of view. So marketing is something that is being pointed out. And the other question is around, again, for Algorand, so for you, Cossimo, if there are any games in development in the Algorand blockchain. And then we go back to the users.
We recently signed a partnership with, for example, Smilecoin. They are supporting a huge ecosystem of gaming. So I'm not referring here to just a game, because it would be too specific. Maybe I can say that Algorand is heavily involved, not in integrating a specific game, but in integrating the engines and the tools for building games. So what this means is, for example, on Algorand, there is a library for the integration of the Algorand protocol and the Unity 3D engine directly. So this is a massive work, because we are trying to embed the protocol. So the community is actively working on embedding the protocol, creating an SDK directly from the 3D engine. So this means that you have example on the developer portal in which you can touch a 3D object in the metaverse, and this automatically trigger a transaction on Algorand. And this is our approach. So the approach is on foundation. It's not just like having a game. It's working with all the engines with which you build a game. That is even more powerful for us.
Yeah, great point, because games are built on different types of softwares, and so it's important to put these elements together, kind of like building blocks of the new systems in which games may be built in the future, in the present, but even more in the future.
Yeah, I will share some link so you can see directly the 3D integration. So the action, the live action of a character, maybe picking up a coin, 3D coin, and this triggering directly a transaction on the ledger. So we are embedding the economy, the economical layer, the financial layer inside the 3D engine.
Mm-hmm.
The community work.
Sure, yeah, feel free to share those resources with us.
Sure.
I want to go back to Tim now, because I know with Arcane and the journey that Tim and his team went through, they've been facilitating so many great projects around NFTs on the market, but also the integration of wallet, also thinking about people that are less knowledgeable about blockchain and crypto. So I want to ask you, Tim, where have you seen most of your audience coming from, and how have you been engaging with people that are not so much into the space, or what are you actually actively doing to reach out to those?
Well, we do primarily focus on a B2B level, so not really directly to end consumers. If we would be doing that, I think our user base would be a lot higher than it is now. We currently have about 400,000 users. When the game studios are positioning to use Venly as a wallet provider, they have a choice. They can choose to integrate us as a native solution where they're building their own audience and their own gamers. That is, if they want to use us as a backend technology to help them secure the wallet solution for them and the end user. Or, and this is an approach that the Sandbox has taken, and creating an open economy. And then people are onboarding using Google, Twitter, and Facebook. And then the game studios, they have the opportunity to grow the user base as they would do with a traditional game. With a traditional game, how they usually market to gain mass adoption is to do Facebook ads, Twitter ads about their game, and to onboard thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of users. So when we see the adoption happening in, for example, the Sandbox, we see that they're currently doing very well, onboarding now, I think, 2,000 users a day, which is, in blockchain terms, quite a lot. Most of them, they're coming through Facebook and Twitter. That's the bottom line, because it really matches with their own marketing approach.
Yes, yeah, it makes me think that we're going back to the marketing element, which often, we don't consider so much. There's an interesting comment as well from Will, who's watching us. So in the vein of researching a plurality audience, what do you see as the supported fiat currencies like dollar, euro, and so on? Will these be staggered approach to support currencies in phases? What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of these currencies are already enabled to be used in and to come into the blockchain ecosystem. If you look at, for example, Circle, they're doing very well in being a fiat crypto gateway, also for multiple blockchain networks. So we're working well with them to make it a possibility, because on our end, we're a technology provider. We're not a payment gateway. But we do work with different preferred partners to make it as seamless as possible. Now, what I also see interesting is where you can go from fiat, skip cryptocurrency, and buy the NFT directly. And there we see it's getting a lot easier for the game studios to take that approach. A good example for that is MoonPay. I would definitely suggest to look at how they are adding the solution and making it possible. Is they have a way to confidently onboard users to pay with fiat and to get the NFTs directly. And with that solution, it's easier than getting cryptocurrency, because NFTs are classified differently from a regulatory perspective. So the conversion of buying the NFTs directly are very high compared to buying cryptocurrency and then using that cryptocurrency to buy the NFTs.
Totally, yes. I think removing that step in between the acquisition of crypto to get an NFT will definitely make the conversion so much easier. And the success of many companies that adopt that system straight away rather than changing from a crypto-based system to a fiat system. It's interesting, though, to see how much we went far off into the decentralization and the DAO and all this wanting to be free from centralized systems into going back to something that we trust and rely on, that is fiat, for example. So it's interesting to see how that shift has been happening and why we're so much, affectionate to something that we know and can handle well. Could be the volatility of things, I don't know, but definitely removing that step made the acquisition of an NFT and the understanding of what an NFT is more accessible to many.
Yeah, so what I believe is fiat is there and is part of this ecosystem. It's one of the ingredients. So we should not be too maybe radical in evaluating the kind of payment system that you can have, because fiat is there, people use fiat, and adoption also is supported by fiat. So we should integrate as much as we can. Also because there are, as Tim said, regulational duty and problems to be solved, and these are different from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. And okay, so maybe I own an NFT of a sword or a shield, my helmet in my game, but if this is a value, maybe which kind of value this kind of asset represents. So onboarding through fiat solves, for example, for KYC, AML, that are something that, if we want to be realistic, should be done. And for the mass adoption, I mean. So we should build gateways, and I do not see this as a threat from decentralization, because the real decentralization means that once you own that helmet, you own this element of decentralized protocol. And maybe what we should avoid is creating silos of NFTs that are confined in a perimeter, or maybe just a gaming brand, because otherwise I will have split values among ecosystem for very well-known different brands, but maybe this value has no flow of communicating with the other ecosystem. So reasoning as layer one, we should be supporting the growth in a very ecosystemic way.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you for adding to that point. We have a number of interesting questions as well. Just wanted to check from the audience, but yeah, keep them coming if you do have questions for our speakers today. We are now looking into what's been the most challenging integration in terms of like wallet for non-crypto platforms. So I don't know, Tim, if you want to add to that point, but technically speaking, what are the challenges about wallets integration with non-fiat, fiat and non-fiat platforms?
Well, looking at our own documentation and developer tools, I don't think there's a big challenge anymore to integrate wallet solutions at the moment. And the thing that we can do is an improvement to make. In our documentation, we should make it possible so that the people can find the different fiat payment providers more easily. Right now, we already know who are currently the industry leaders. We vetted a lot of them. But Game Studio, they still need to do and search that information. So I believe the next step for us is to add like a section in our documentation saying, okay, these are trusted gateway providers, so that you can, one, integrate our wallet solutions, but on the same time also have the coding examples on what is the best practices to onboard via gateway at the same time. If we have that, then I think we have added another piece to the puzzle.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Dean. And Cosimo, what's your take on this as well? I know that you shared some links of your developer guides. So if you want to expand a little bit further about this, about how you're integrating these wallets into these platforms, it would be great.
Sure, thanks. So the engineering team at Algorand done great work to add, for example, very useful user experience feature to reduce the gaps to interact with our protocol. So, for example, now the Algorand wallet support the Wallet Connect protocol that enable a seamless interaction of the signing process directly for mobile. So you can interact from the mobile within mobile application, or maybe from your mobile with decentralized application that are on a web application through QR codes. So there is a lot of effort there, and everything is well documented. The Algorand wallet is also open source, but we have also a bunch of other wallets like AlgoSigner, my Algo wallet, that are great product too. And the developer is a very fundamental source of information for anyone who is willing to deploy and develop application on Algorand. I really encourage you to land on our developer portal because you will find all the tools there. Maybe also join the Discord community that is very, very active and support them on the technical side. So we are there to support you, and me as a solution architect, I'm here to help you guys to succeed in your mission in developing on our layer one.
Okay, great. Cosimo, I want to use this space. I see a question from the audience here as well. Do you see a role for the restricted NFTs Algorand standard asset? Someone here in the audience probably knows a thing or two about Algorand. As opposed to regular NFTs in gaming, think of maybe real estate in the metaverse, for example, Decentraland. What do you think of this?
So the ASA, so the Algorand Standard Asset Framework has been thinking from the ground up as a general framework to model any kind of NFT. So, and you can combine the ASA with Algorand smart contract to enforce, for example, restriction, policies, transfer control over the ASA, or maybe also royalties. There is an example of a game, very simple game that has the unique scope of teaching you guys how to enforce royalty policies on ASA. It's called Algorand. It's just an example in which you have an NFT and you can transfer the NFT if and only if you donate something to the whole Algorand community. So it's just an example to restrict policy of transfer and those NFTs so that you can build your own transfer control over your object, your NFT in game, and so on.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the answer. And hi, Serena. So let's go on to Tim again. So we saw some recent news about Visa purchasing a CryptoPunk. So what's your take on it? How do you see this event, and is this the beginning of something else? What do you think about it?
I think CryptoPunks is classified as art. Serena knows a lot about art, so she can dive a lot deeper into it. But for
it's a new
Visa,
form of art.
it's a new form of art, yeah. But for Visa to make this purchase, I think it's a good way for them to get into the news and to highlight the adoption of blockchain and crypto towards a big audience. And yeah, I think it's also interesting for them because they then are giving legitimacy to NFTs, but on the same time, yeah, positioning themselves as a brand that showcases that we are busy with blockchain technology, with NFTs, and there's brand value for them to also make this purchase and make such an announcement.
Yeah, absolutely. Cosimo, again, will you be seeing with this same news? Will you be seeing banks or payment cards or any of these institutions providing in the short term new wallets, so that this might become our new digital asset vaults, in some way?
Yeah, at the end of the day, this could be one of a new business model for them. So for also for maybe for banks, so banks could turn into key management service providers, because maybe they are not more handling the asset, because the asset is controlled and ruled by decentralized ecosystem, while they will retain and keep the position for themselves to be a reliable service provider in terms of key custody, key management, and so on and so forth. So these will add value, because maybe there will be a competition in the space to provide best service, best custody service, and the options are there. So if you are on one side, you want to own your keys and you want to be absolutely non-custodial, the option is there, but we cannot blame the other side that maybe want to keep acting in a regular way, so through a custody provider. And so banks or credit card providers maybe will also turn into custody provider too. There is a business model there.
Okay, absolutely. And well, we're talking about like big banks and institutions, but do you think that this will also blend into or get to start a new business models for startups, for upcoming new companies? What's your take on this? Do you see a lot of startups just sprouting out of this new business model as well?
Yeah, there are a bunch of interesting use cases in this sense. So maybe one that I quoted before is Venly. So it's a provider of gateway that could integrate also custody. So once you facilitate the payments through fiat, to facilitate those kind of things, you will also end up owning the keys. So there are startups there, and maybe Venly is one example. There are I can think of several ones, but to be concrete, this is the first one that came up to my mind. And yeah, so I believe this could be a potential new business model.
Okay, great. Tim, what do you think of all this? About, well, he kind of said that you were the one that came first to mind, so that's a good thing. So if you have anything else to add, that would be great as well.
I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, another thing to add is we do have a blockchain agnostic scope and also preferred partnership program. Maybe we should also talk what we can do with them for Algorand.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, we're starting business here.
This is a great platform to make friends, The BGA has always been like a great matching.
We're creating synergies here all around the world, and in the end, what we believe is we want the ecosystem to grow, and the way to grow is to trust one another, to push the technology towards the edge and see how we can simplify. And we are not the blockchain experts. That's why we don't create our own blockchain. But we do know how to simplify and how to connect to blockchain easily and to present that to what developers need and what end users need.
Awesome. There's actually a question that is right on point. So how do you think the user journey needs to be looking like? So looking into the future, what do you both think the the user journey should be like?
I think personally that the user journey should be as simple as possible, where you don't need to train 5-year-old or 10-year-olds to leverage a blockchain-based game. It shouldn't matter that we're connecting to and from blockchain. It should be a service that we're using because it's a better way to manage transactions. And for the rest, the UX is what the game developer imagines for the end user.
Super.
Yeah.
That's something I also want to throw in the you know, on for you guys in the platform is that, do you see that dangerous by any chance for people below the age of 18? Because I know we wanted to make it simple, but the fact that we're still dealing in so many aspects with play to earn games, for example, or there's a financial element to this. How do you see that playing a role as well? But Cossimo, please share your thoughts about the user journey first.
Yeah, sure. As I said, you can think of a game as an economy. So any kind of bad things that you can do in an economy now can happen in game also. So and we know that games are something that could be addictive. And for example, you can should be very aware to manage kind of opening up the doors to gambling, or is it this kind of activity that could be potentially very dangerous for the personal growth of the youngest. So this is my personal standpoint. So we should not lose the objective of making this technology available while keeping them safe and secure for everybody. And safe and secure means safe and secure from a technological standpoint. So we, as a layer one in Algorand, we want to be scalable and fast without losing security and putting people's money in danger. But also, but this is something that in which blockchain has nothing to do, is regulation and education about an healthy way of being part of the game. So this is my personal position, and I want just to add something on what Tim just said before. It is making the user experience almost seamless. So there will be a point in which you don't even notice that the blockchain is behind. And there will be a natural ledger of interaction. And is it important to keep this interoperability among the ecosystem of blockchains, but also among the user experience as well? So on the user side, in a wallet, so I want to be interoperable with several protocols.
Yeah, I agree, but there are other business models than play to earn. You can also create a business model, play to collect, and that has completely other dynamic. But you're collecting something that is on chain. And today's businesses and games that are also available to children, those are also digital economies. Except it's always a game studio that is selling through an in-app purchase style towards the gamer. So that behavior is already being driven in a traditional circumstance. And it is still up to a game developer and a game studio to adhere to the rules of regulation and to their target market. But when we're talking about putting the technology in the backseat, as in make it as user-friendly as possible, there we're not taking into account as in what type of game is a game developer creating. Is that for a target audience of 18 plus, or is it a type of game that is suitable for children?
That's a very interesting topic, absolutely. That, again, to me, it goes back to the marketing and how the game studio, for example, is again, targeting that audience and communicating to that audience. The fact that blockchain is involved isn't often at the forefront of their communication, but the ways in which games studios are educating or getting the audience involved into projects, that definitely plays a huge role on how people then actively interact with a game, for example. So just some thoughts there. So we want to go back onto the opportunities that may appear when we are integrating fiat payments into blockchain games. So we see, for example, NFTs being one of the mainstream for income, as a resource of income for projects. But what other source of benefits, do you see when the integration of fiat payment is applied to blockchain projects? I see you both nodding, so you must have something in mind that is not NFT related. What is it?
Cossimo, do you want to start?
Okay, so there is a whole creator economy that can arise and interoperate with the decentralized finance that has been built and is being built on blockchains. So you can imagine what this means for developing economies, for developing countries in which the creator economy was not very well connected, because there is creation value there, but was not well connected in a financial standpoint with the rest of the world. So you can have now a huge growing of creator economy in game from all over the world, interacting in a decentralized way, also with decentralized financial protocols. This means that maybe you can create value, you can lend and borrow maybe against the value you create in game. And this is a revolutionary thing, because this means that the time that you spend in game is not more just a time that you give up on for free, but it's time on which you monetize, and monetize in a way that it's yours. It's not part of a boundary of an ecosystem. It's part of a value that can be used and spent in several ways, in decentralized way.
Yeah, that's interesting when you bring up creator economies. We also see some of our clients that are supporting the creator economy and to help them mint and create NFTs from what they would regularly do as an image or a photo, which then they share on social networks. And if you see that these photos then become more and more viral, then you see there is usually also a monetization strategy to have those pictures go viral. But then bringing that into NFTs, there is then the benefit of the blockchain, where you can track all the different NFTs that are then being transferred within that ecosystem. So that's quite an interesting evolution that we're seeing. I know it's a little bit off topic from the fiat payments, because at that moment in time there's no particular need for fiat payment, but it is growing big NFTs in the creator economy.
Yeah, having that fiat link will facilitate the fact that the value that you create in this blockchain scenario is also interoperable with the existing real economy, maybe outside this world that is there, and we should recognize it. So I want to buy fruit, maybe with fiat money, but that money came from my gaming activities and are stored on chain as value. So I see this as an addition, not as a contradiction.
Yeah. Also, where you can see that the NFTs can also become a discount or a voucher for a real world asset. Those are also conversations that we're seeing more and more happening with the different customers that we're supporting.
Awesome, thank you. One of the very last questions we have prepared for you is around the challenges in terms of mass adoption of fiat payments in blockchain games. And I would also add around the technical, challenges that we briefly touched on earlier on. So I'm thinking about the Know Your Customer challenge, but also others. So as a recap, I would love for you maybe to share some of the challenges and what you're doing about those challenges. And then we've got something for you at the end to share with our audience. But yeah, after you.
So as layer one, as Algorand, when you speak about mass adoption, the first challenge is of course the scalability of our protocol. Because at the end of the day, if you open up the door for a mass adoption, you should be prepared to scale up accordingly without being a bottleneck, as for example, fee, transaction cost, and this kind of problem that happens. So imagine what would happen also if you had to wait for finalize an interaction in game minutes and minutes and not just seconds. So in Algorand, our mission is that this use of the blockchain is seamless in terms of time and scalability, and without being a bottleneck. And our engineering is working greatly to achieve huge scale-ups, in the sense that now we are able to process around 1,000 transactions per second with very, very low cost, 1,000 of an algo. And we are targeting a 10x increase of these transaction per second bandwidth in next year. So this is critical for mass adoption, because when fiat is there and we are well integrated to fiat, we should not forget that on the other side, the blockchain should keep working.
Tim, what do you think the challenges are and what you're doing about this?
Finding the right fiat providers that are available on different networks. So I think currently there are about 6-7 companies in the world that we know about, that we then also always suggest to our partners to embed or to use their services. I mentioned that a good way is to bring them into our own documentation, because if people are looking to use our technology, where then the usual next step is the question, how can I add fiat? We always have to either push them away or endorse someone else. And we want to endorse, but it's also a complexity, and there's another research that the developers need to do. So if we can bring all of that together, then the difficulty is then working with the fiat gateways that tie the best with their geographic market. Because if you then look at a game that is targeting mostly Europe, then you have a different payment processor that has a higher conversion rate than the ones that are targeting in the US. If you want to do both, then you probably have to have an algorithm that says, where is that user located? If he's located in the US, then I'll present this fiat gateway option as a means. So that is going from fiat to a cryptocurrency within a game. We know right now the conversion rate of something like that is between 35% and 60%, which is not that high. So there, the opportunity to change that, going from fiat to NFT, then you can get a conversion rate that is up to 80%, 90%. Another thing that we're investigating is the ability to go from fiat to NFTs from an e-commerce point of view, where you have an additional store elsewhere. You allow people to purchase the NFTs on that store, and from that store on, you guide them inside the game. And this is how we also see mass adoption happening, because these e-commerce platforms, they are fully regulated. They have hundreds of payment providers that they've already embedded within their tools. And they're talking to all of these all of these payment providers to recognize that NFTs are here to stay, and that they want them within the terms of conditions so that people can start selling these NFTs through their regular services.
Awesome, thank you. I love this panel conversation. I'm sure the audience has been also following your thoughts and comments into what you guys have been doing and that you will be providing in the future. I think there's been so much that has been said, but also is been left for discussion, So that's an open floor. That's what we aim to do at the BGA. And for this purpose, I'm also here with Luis to share a survey that we've put together to check what's the state of the art in the blockchain game field. So I will be sharing a link here with you, and I will invite all our members to fill it out, as these will help all of us better understanding what's the current state of the art, and for us to be improving it and moving forward. So I want to thank everybody for attending this panel conversation, Cossimo and team most of all, and also the BGA, all the members that make those events possible. So thank you all. I've shared the link here in the chat, and we will share it again on social media. So I will ask all our members and you guys as well to share it with your network, as these will really help us improving and better understanding and reading what the trends are in this industry. So once again, thank you so much for taking part in this panel conversation. If you want to rewatch it, the archive is available on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So thanks again, Cossimo and team, and Luis for joining us today, and to all of you for the wonderful questions.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
See you next week.
See you next week at the BGA. Bye. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Likewise. Bye-bye.
Bye.